Hey guys, dating life gone pretty shitty?
I find you so creepy I think you should have to walk around with a bell around your neck.
Finding yourself getting a little desperate for some female companionship?
Alexa, tell me you love me.
Hell no. You disgust me.
What you need is to upgrade your style right now. The Toxic Store's got exactly what you need. Pick up some stylish gear featuring Deviant Gamer, Toxic Radio, and the Heavy Metal Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah!
You can find the store through the Toxic Radio app or toxicradio.net. Get in the game.
Do I make you horny, baby?
Get yourself a little love.
That guy's getting boobies.
Yeah, he is.
Toxic Radio and the Toxic Store. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic.
Master, dinner is served. Igor, it's not that I don't appreciate the effort, but you know I prefer my meals uncooked. And how many times have I told you about using garlic? Yes, Master. Forgive me, Master. Please. Bite into Paradelphia. Thursday nights at 8, only on Toxic Radio. Paradelphia, because what if it's all true?
While you're rocking with us at Toxic Radio, don't forget to check us out on social media.
I want details, and I want them right now.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Now you're talking, brother.
Chat with us, keep up on news. Just don't make it weird. Don't be a stalker. Don't be that guy.
You just want to suck the joy out of everything.
Toxic Radio. Get infected.
Hungry for Hope Nation, your host, Reckless Donnie Hart, and I am joined by my co-host, Big Time Tim Gorgeous. Tim, that was wonderful. That was awesome, man. You were back. What, were you sick last week, buddy?
A little sore throat, a little cough.
Tim, we got with us, we got Yanni the Greek producer. We got people everywhere now. Do you want to let the audience know who else is here helping us out?
Yeah, so we have a new intern, a social media intern from Penn State University. It's my sister, Katie Nafis. Hello, Katie. Welcome to the team.
Hungry for Hope Nation, say hello to Katie. Hey, Katie, thanks for being here. We're excited. You excited? You look excited. Yeah, you got excited.
I'm excited.
And we got the Philadelphia 76ers on. They're up 6-4. We got Yanni the Greek in the thing. But the main event, the person I'm so proud to have on, it's an honor to have all the way from Alberta, am I right? Alberta, Canada. Do you even know where that is, Tim? We got Curtis Anderson. Curtis, are you there?
I'm here.
Curtis, man, we had to jump through some
Can
loops.
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfect. It almost sounds like you're in New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm pretty technically advanced.
Nah, man, you know, you got to realize we're in New Jersey, and we got you coming all the way from, where exactly are you at again?
It's a small town called Membrane, Alberta. It's about an hour and a half east of Edmonton.
See, I don't know where that is, and you know, it's cool that we're able to have you here. We tried to get you on the live video, but we still got you on phone, man. And any way we can get you, even if you had to write us a letter, your story is one that needs to be told, and I would do whatever we had to do to get you on this show.
Well, thanks. I want to thank you for having me on to share my story with your listeners.
Yeah, absolutely, Curtis. Like I said, you know, Hungry for Hope's all about inspiring the community, inspiring people. We do stories about people doing good things, not just in our community, but all over, man. We've been doing a lot of stuff in our community, but it's good to get back to somebody who's actually doing something in a whole different part of this, you know, not even in this country, man. And your inspiration, I was watching your videos today. I've been talking to you. I talked to you on the phone, man, and you inspired me just talking to you. So, Curtis, you know, I talked enough. Tell us about you, man. I want to hear your story, the Curtis Anderson story from Curtis.
Okay. June 27th, 2002. Started out as just another day. It was scorching hot outside. I traveled to the Pinocchio Stampede, one of the 5th biggest rodeos in the world. The last thing that I remember was setting my rope on a bull named Real Handy. They opened the gate. I lost my balance, and the boom, boom, my head smashed the bull's head twice. I spent the first 3 weeks in a drug-induced coma at the University of Alberta Hospital in Edmonton. The first thing that I remember was the ambulance ride over to the Glenrose Rehabilitation Hospital. I didn't know where I was going, and I didn't know what had happened. When I seen my family and friends for the first time, I had to write everything down in a scribbler to communicate. I had to move my left arm with my right. When I took my first steps, the physiotherapist would walk alongside me for an hour a day, teaching me how to walk step by step. It'd be your cane, left foot, and then right. And there would be an assistant walking behind me with the chair so I could take a break once in a while. And it was a big deal to walk 20 feet without stopping. Last summer on June 14th, I walked 19.8 miles. The first step of independence that I regained was when I was able to transfer from my bed to my chair. I was then able to take myself to therapy and for my meals. I went outside and I put my bare feet in the grass. Everything stopped. It gave a sensation that lit up my whole body. I started out with a feeding tube, pureed food, then diced food, chopped up in little pieces. I am now able to cook my own steak. I started out with ice chips, thickened water, now the real stuff. I rolled my chair up and down the sidewalk to regain some strength. One night, I went swimming without telling anyone. Well, the security guards found me, escorted me out of the pool and back to my room, and I was wondering what everyone was just so wound up about. I had everything under control. I was also part of an oral motor group with other survivors. We would take turns pronouncing vowels and then words. The first words that I had to get off my chest and tell the world was, my ass is sore. After the meals, you would have to sit in that chair for an hour before you're able to lay down. Throughout my recovery, people look at me and get the impression that I'm unable to do things. But you're better off to do it on your own, because if you never try, you won't get better. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 10 times as long, you are still able to do it on your own. The first time that I went out for dinner in my chair to a restaurant, rolling in the door was like being hit by a baseball bat. You hear everyone talking, all of the background noise, then everyone stops and stares at you. And it was too much stimulation. One day, frustration was building up. I got mad as heck, and I threw my cane on top of the roof. And then I looked up there and realized, well, that sure did a lot of good. And I need my cane to walk. I speak at brain injury centers and other events where there are survivors. And there has been survivors tell me that I was an inspiration for them to keep going in their recovery. It doesn't get better when you hear a statement like that. I have walked down the road that they're on. I know what it is all about. I can share my story and they can relate. It is a lot different than someone talking out of a textbook or reading stats. No one can ever say how far you will go. Determination, dedication, try, grit, courage, confidence, commitment, resilience, tenacity, perseverance, optimism, strength, and the most important, patience, is a choice until it is the only choice you have. I talk to parents of survivors, and some tell me it seems like their child's recovery is going slow. And I remind them to look back at to where their child started till now, and there will be mountains of difference. Sometimes you need to take a step back and remind yourself of that. I spoke at the J.L. Robson School in Vermilion. There was a boy that rode his bike to school every day. At the end of the day, the boy inspected his helmet and realized it was unsafe to wear. He ended up walking his bike home from school. To know my story made that much of an impact is something you don't put words on. I spoke at the Panoka Elementary School, and there was a 7-year-old boy walk up to me and say, I would like to thank you for not giving up. Well, those words went straight to my heart. I met Greg Wyanko at the First Responders Rodeo in St. Albert a couple years ago. And Greg was the paramedic that put the intravenous on me in the arena that day. And I met Rob McKenzie at the Panoka Stampede in 2019. And Rob was the paramedic that came out of the crowd to intubate me so I could start breathing again. It's pretty darn powerful when you can shake hands with Rob, Greg, members of the Canadian Pro Rodeo Sports Medicine team that gave me an opportunity to live. A doctor told me once during my recovery, he said, Curtis, you are not out of the woodworks yet, but the trees are getting farther apart. Well, I could see more daylight now. A big part of recovery is acceptance and realizing that life is not a matter of holding good cards, but making the most of a hand you have been dealt. For 18 years and 11 months, I have played my hand, and I know the bottom line. There is no such thing as I can't with any challenge in life that either you or I face. The bull, real handy He won the fight that day, fair and square. My real handy, he is long gone hamburger, and I'm still here. So I end up being the champion. Take a step forward, spend some time, and make a difference in someone's life. One day, someone is going to come along and make a difference in yours. Doesn't matter how many chips are down, don't you ever give up on what you want to do. Now that you have heard my story and the challenges that I faced, just keep fighting one day at a time, and make each day count. No matter what life throws at you, one thing you got to believe in, you have to believe in yourself. Thank you.
Curtis, amazing, man. I didn't want to interrupt you because your story was so good, man. Thank you for sharing that, man. Takes a lot of strength to share your story. That was a traumatic moment in your life, to share that and everything. That's pretty amazing, man. I just want to thank you.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah. Tim, what do you think about that? I know Tim was sitting here and all. We were really, just at a loss of words.
Oh, that was an amazing story.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing it. And it was funny. I made note of it. When you said June 14th, 2020, that was the first day you walked again?
No. I mean, I was walking, whatever, few month after, but June 14th last year was I walked 19.8 miles, and it was at the beginning, it was a big deal to walk 20 feet without stopping. This last year, I went for a walk for almost 20 miles because June's Brain Injury Awareness Month up here, so I just went for a good walk.
Yeah, that's amazing, Curtis. I know when I talked to you personally, that's the one thing that stuck out, man. 20 steps seemed so far-fetched to you when you were first in your early recovery, man. I know doctors said we experienced, we shared our experiences, what doctors said to me in my recovery for my traumatic brain injury, and you said, 20 steps sounded so far-fetched in the beginning, and now you did 19.8 miles. How does that feel, man?
Yeah.
To know where you started this journey, where they said you couldn't do it, they didn't know if you could, and then to get to 19.8 miles, how did that feel, man? Did you sit down and say, man, I'm kicking ass, or how did that feel, Curtis?
Well, Donnie, it's one of them things that, until you walk down the road that we've been on, no one really gets it, but it's a proud feeling, I guess, and it's just proving to yourself there's always more in the tank than you think.
Yeah, because, I know me personally, when I was on my road to recovery, just from other demons and from the stuff I went through with my injuries, I had this picture, like, I thought in my head, this might be possible, but there's doubt, man. When everybody says, you can't do this, and people doubt you. So when you actually do get there, even though I believed in myself that, I could do greatness, sometimes you just got to say, man, this really happened. You ever just sit down and say, I'm really doing this?
Yeah, and I mean, okay, what I'm saying is, you look back at where you started, and it was like being a baby at 27 is what it was. It was a whole brand new world. And now that, you're able to almost walk 20 miles, it's going to be 19 years here in a month, and, a lot has happened, and I kept the list for the first 13 years of things I could do with my left hand or two hands, and half of that list took 10 years to do. like Donnie, where there's a set of stairs, and Tim, there's usually only a railing on one side of them. Well, it took me 8 years before I could use the left railing again. A lot of the times, I went down the steps backwards just so I can hang on to the railing with my right arm. And if there was no railing, I'd be stuck at the top or bottom. And I've asked a lot of strangers up and down the steps there at the beginning.
Yeah, Curtis, when you say that, man, you know, I didn't suffer as traumatic of an injury as you, but when I did, I had shattered my legs too. My right leg was in a cast, and I remember how you're saying using that railing. I remember me personally, I was stuck, man. I was in the hospital for weeks, and then when I got home, I was stuck in the downstairs. I was bedridden. I couldn't leave to do anything. I couldn't go upstairs to the shower. And one day I just said, you know, I'm sick and tired of this. So I said, I'm going to walk up them steps. I remember I walked up that railing. I had a big metal halo on my leg. I had lost 50 pounds. My jaw was wired shut. I still had shattered bones all over my body. And I remember walking up them steps. And I was in no condition to do it, but I was just so fed up. I was so angry. And I was just really, really angry at my situation. So I got up them steps, and I got halfway, man. I'm holding that railing, and I'm holding it with everything I got. I only had one railing. And then that railing snapped, and I fell.
Wow.
I fell, man, and that I sat there, you know, just crying, just felt like failure, man, and it really hit me, and it was hard, man. I sat there for hours, I gotta say, man. It took. Did you have moments like that when you tried so hard and you had setbacks, man? What got you to get over them setbacks, man? Because I know personally I dealt with them, and I know how hard they were, and they were hard. My family watched me go through them. How did you get through when you had your setbacks?
Well, I look back, you know, at the beginning and realize how much strength it took me to even, you know, to get out of bed. And I drew on the strength that I had used at the beginning, and, you know, I said to myself, if I had that much strength then to, you know, even walk 5 steps, I can get through what's in front of me right now. And the biggest part in recovery is, like, there's no bigger thing than patience. Because sometimes you want it to happen faster than it is, but there's no timeline on recovery. Everyone's different, and everyone's brain injury is different.
Yeah, man, and the one thing you said, everybody's different. The one thing I really noticed that you said, you didn't say poor you, man. You took the hand you were dealt, man. You know,
yeah,
you can't change that hand, and that was a problem I know I had. I'm sure, Tim, you dealt with that. You ever say, like, why me, Tim? You felt that?
I don't know. I always consider mine kind of more along the lines of my fault, even though there was stuff that led there, but it was a different type of recovery. But yeah, I could understand that.
Yeah, but you know, there was a while where it was hard. I was always saying, why me? And today in my life, I say, yes, me. I take all these challenges, and I take them arms wide open, and I can't wait for the next challenge, just to prove I can do it, and also show other people that you can do this. I love that mindset, how you took the hand you were dealt, man. You couldn't go back and change it. If there was a magic potion that changed that event, you do it, but you couldn't.
Like, I mean, we're going to climb mountains on our way, but we're going to walk and crawl through a lot of valleys on the way to get there, but that's what builds character. For you to see how strong you are and what exactly you're made of, and that's what builds character for you to be tougher later on in life and later on your journey. And you need them struggles to keep going.
Yeah, man, I absolutely agree. I've learned the most from the hardest days of my life. I say, you know,
yeah,
I don't regret them, because I learned the most challenges them days I fell on that railing, and I sat there on them steps, and I was in tears, and I was in pain, and I was bleeding, and I asked myself, would I ever be able to run again? Would I ever be able to do this again? Them days, making it through them days, that's when I learned the most as a man, as a person, them days have built. They got me ready for the man I am today. I'm sure you can relate 100%.
Yeah, I mean, rock bottom is going to teach you a lot more than a mountaintop.
Absolutely, man. And you talk about this rock bottom. So I have a question for you, man. You know, now you're here, man. You're motivating people. You're doing great things. But when you were going through your rough times, when you were going through them rough times after your accident, man, what's one thing you wish you knew now that you knew back then?
Oh, I don't know if there's any magic word, but I would just say keep on keeping on. You know, like it's just it's something, you know, there's no magic potion, but the biggest thing as well, it's all relates back to patience and things work out, you know. It's just if you keep fighting and if you keep whatever exercising or, you know, getting your proper rest, it's gonna work out, but it'll take time.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Curtis, what would you say one of your proudest moments before your injury in 2002 were? Or was?
Well, I was the first guy to ride short fuse at Harvey Northcott out of bull riding in Olds, and he ended up being bull of Canada, like the best bucking bull in Canada one year. So that probably was one of the proudest moments, being the first guy to snap him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I'm sure you have a lot of proud moments before your 2002 injury, man. You did the bull riding thing. That's awesome. Was that something you grew up you wanted to do? How did you get into the bull riding?
Well, there was my neighbor. His name is Mike Falkers, and he used to ride bulls. And I don't know. I guess I was, you know, I started kind of late into the scene. I was 14 and started, you know, like riding, whatever, say junior cows or junior bulls, and then you move into the junior bulls and into the open, and it just something I really like doing.
Yeah, so you mentioned that proud moment. Now let's go past 2002 to after the accident, after the injury. What's one of your proudest moments since then, Curtis?
The proudest moment that I've had is, you know, well, I've had a few, I guess, but having survivors of, you know, of different types tell me that I inspire them, keep going in their recovery. And I mean, when you inspire another survivor to keep going in their recovery, that's a pretty good feeling. And then I've had some parents tell me of survivors that I held them together through their child's recovery. And then I spoke at a school in Strathmore, that's east of Calgary, and I seen one of the boys later on, and I asked him how my speech went over. And he said that 15 kids started wearing the helmet after I got to ride the bike to school every day after I talked. And I mean, if you hit one person, that's a good feeling, but to have hit 15, that's, you know, making an impact.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels good,
and then
man. Go on, Curtis.
There was a dad of a young bull rider a few years ago. He told me that I was the reason that his son's still wearing a helmet riding bulls. And that's a great feeling. And, you know, people say, whatever. Like, Tony, when I got hurt, 2 guys in Western Canada wore a helmet to ride bulls. And now there's probably 95%. And, you know, some people say that I help out with, you know, whatever. Just when I go to bull rides or rodeos, I talk to the guys one-on-one and talk to them about the severity of repeated concussions, because I'm living proof what happens when you go back too soon. So.
Yeah, man. I talked to you personally about that. That was one of the big things. You know, I got in this accident where my head got all smashed around. I broke like all the bones in my face, and at the time, I wasn't educated on it. Not to bash the doctors, but they didn't really educate me. And after this accident, I was so hell-bent on doing the things they told me I couldn't do again. So I went on to play college football, semi-professional football. I went on to do professional wrestling, my childhood dream. I can't tell you how many concussions I got. I got concussion after concussion, but being as I was, I didn't want to tell people I got them, or I would just keep on going, man. I wrestled matches with concussions. I played football games with concussions, and I already had this fragile brain. And now I know, man, from people like you, from people like Kirby, who we had on from Mind Your Brain Foundation, I've learned so much. I can only imagine the people you're helping. Like you said, these people who wear helmets now, I honestly can say I think Curtis Anderson is saving lives and saving brains.
Well, that's pretty good to hear that. And, like when I go speak or whatever, I show a helmet safety demonstration. And if anyone out there wants to show their kids a helmet safety demonstration, just take a coffee cup from a gas station and fill it half full of cotton balls and put an egg in the center, completely surround your egg with cotton balls, tape a lid on the cup, and that represents your brain when you wear your helmet, and drop it on a plate, and then take the egg out. It'll be perfect. Like the yolk is your brain, the shell is your skull, and then drop the egg by itself, and that's your brain without a helmet. And that sure goes over good with the kids because it's hands-on and it's visual, and they can see firsthand what their helmet does.
Yeah, that's awesome that you do that. That you give these people these resources. You're teaching them, man. You're a wealth, lot of knowledge, man.
I'm sure a lot of people ask you for advice, Curtis. What advice would you give to someone currently dealing with a traumatic brain injury?
Go to all your therapies. Get your rest. That is number one. And drink lots of water. And all the survivors out there, if you Google benefits, drink a cucumber water every day for the brain, or drink a lemon water for the brain every day, there's lots of benefits. And just as a survivor, don't compare yourself to the person next to you. You're on your own road, and your own road is going to take the time it takes. And if you think things are going a bit slow, keep a journal and just write down every new thing that you're able to do again. And it's good to look back and to see all the different things that you have accomplished. And when your slate has been wiped clean, the smallest achievement for a survivor, well, it's like climbing a mountain. I remember it took me 10 years before I could touch each finger to my thumb on my left hand. And, for some, that would take a few seconds, but 10 years later, I was able to start doing it again.
Yeah, that's it's amazing how you say all these little battles you had to go through, and you got to where you're at now. You're doing almost 20 miles. I'm sure along the way, though, you've had some help, man. We're only human. We can only do so much. Curtis, what's the best resources that have helped you along the way during your journey in recovery?
Talk with other survivors. And one really good thing that helped me when I was still in the Albert Johnson Center, brain injury in Panoka, me and a couple friends, we took therapeutic riding. So we went therapeutic horseback riding, and it really helps. At that time, I was just starting to walk more and more, and it really helped with my balance and strength. And it was something, everything went away. It was something to look forward to and look back on. And horses are very therapeutic. Just being around them is a good feeling for me, or about most people. And then probably the past half dozen years or better, I've been getting cranial adjustment from Dr. Nicole Fox, and that has really helped me. They realign the plates in your skull, and there's a bunch of one thing that helps with blood flow, but it's really helped me. And just what I really recommend, the horseback riding. It'll help everything.
That's awesome, man. Horseback riding. Yeah, I'm sure in your situation, I'm sure just being around that too, that helps. Are you still, how involved are you still in the bull riding world, the rodeo world?
Well, I've spoken a lot of bull ridings. I had another story before this one called Road to Recovery, and I spoke at quite a few bull ridings in Alberta and a couple in Saskatchewan, and just talking to the guys one-on-one and just letting them know, how to take care of themselves after a concussion or just the dangers. And your brain is most accessible in the first 2 weeks, and the second hit does the most damage. And when your brain has a trauma like a concussion, it dumps toxins, and when your blood is dehydrated, it's thicker and hard to pump. You need to drink a gallon of water a day to flush them toxins out. And dehydrated blood, that's what causes your headache, increase your headache, and in some cases, a stroke.
Yep. Now, when you got into the bull riding, man, I know just from, we have a rodeo near where I grew up, Cowtown Rodeo. It's one of the oldest rodeos in the country in United States. And did you know there was a possibility that one day, you could have such an injury? Did you take that risk coming into the world of the rodeo world, bull riding world, or what, man?
You never really thought about it, when you first cracked out. But I had some friends that, it happened. And, but I guess the risk when you put your hand in the rope, so it's your call.
Now, if you were me, Curtis, what question would you ask yourself that we haven't asked you yet?
What did it feel like to wake up out of your coma and realize that you could no longer talk to your family or anyone? You could no longer get out of bed, and you could no longer move one of your arms. And who helped you out along the way?
Curtis Anderson, I got a question for you. What did it feel like when you woke up out of that coma? When you couldn't talk to your family, you couldn't get out of that bed, you couldn't move side of your body. And how did that feel, and who helped you through that time, Curtis?
Well, when you wake up, first of all, it's a total blur. You don't know what happened, and you don't know why you're in this shape. But then they end up telling you what happened. But I remember, when I got to the Glenrose, the therapies, they started, but just be able to, it's hard to explain the feeling that you get or feel again when you take those first steps in therapy. And having, and then Jason Keeley, he's a survivor. He was a survivor 8 years before I was. And I phoned him, fair bit. He was he's a brain injury survivor too. And a friend named Greg Whitlow. And I talked to them quite a bit. And yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. You talk about that waking up. I remember, mine was a car accident. it's been about 15 years since my accident. I still remember, man. I had it all before the accident. I was a senior in high school, man. I was looking at playing college football, man. I was in the greatest shape. I had everything, man. And I worked hard to get there, man. It wasn't easy. And then out of nowhere, I had no idea what happened. I just remember waking up with tubes down my throat, all these wires hooked up to me, shining lights, and I remember noise and machines everywhere. And at first, I thought I was dead. I thought it was heaven. And then I look around, and I'll never forget. I knew it was bad when I saw all the most important people in my life in the room, and they all had this look of like, they just saw death. And I just remember I knew it was bad. At that point, I didn't know if I was going to survive. I didn't know what happened. It's a wake up call. I'm sure you still remember some of that waking up, man. I just know I'm blessed to still be here, and you're blessed to be here from going to that point. It's not a good point waking up in the hospital in the ICU and out of a medically induced coma like we both were in. You came a long way.
Oh, thanks.
Now, you have this, you did the bull riding. Now you hit this injury, man, and you became almost a second act in life. So I ask you now, Curtis, when somebody describes Curtis Anderson, what do you hope they say about you?
A man that helps others.
A man that helps others. You hear that, big time, Tim Kudges?
Ooh.
That's
definitely do. That's the goal for us all, huh?
That's what this show is based on. I know my time, man. After my injury, I went through other horrible stuff, and I told myself, man, when I was at that rock bottom, when I didn't think I was gonna make it out, I told myself, if I make this out, Curtis, if I get out of this hell that had to become my life, I was gonna reach back down and I was gonna help others. I'm sure, Tim, you thought the same thing, similar?
Absolutely. That's what Hungry for Hope's all about, is helping others. That's what the nonprofit's geared to, giving everybody a second chance. And, that's the goal for both of us, I would believe. But, Curtis, quick question. How can our listeners connect with you online or seek your services?
Well, they can send a message. I'm at Curtis Anderson 6 on Instagram, and then I'm on LinkedIn. But if anybody wants to share their story with me or ask any questions, you can call me anytime at 780-581-4802, and we could share stories.
Yeah, we'll share that, man. We'll share your info. If anybody wants you to speak, I know you're all about helping people, man, and that's why, I'm not surprised with your answer. We'll share all that stuff for you, man. We'll share your social media and everything. I know for me personally, your story, like I said, Janine Kirby's story, all this thing is, people like you have helped my process. I started Hungry for Hope to help other people, and I actually helped myself in the process, bringing people on like you, hearing your stories. People ask me sometimes, like, what keeps everything in perspective? And for me, it's bringing people on like you. People, we all have different stories, but somebody who even suffered a worse injury, it makes me realize how blessed I am to be here. And, I'm sure the same for big time Tim.
Yeah, every day's a blessing.
Our show, Curtis, our shows, it's Hungry for Hope, man. It's all about giving hope to those who may have lost it. For whatever reason in life, somebody lost hope, man, we try to inspire them. So, Curtis Anderson, I ask you this. What does hope mean to you?
It means hard work and honest effort, helping others, optimism, no matter what kind of shape you're in. It means perseverance, persistence, excelling when your back is against the wall. And hope can mean whatever. Hope can mean talking with another survivor or go to one of their therapies with them and realize how good they're doing and the road they're walking on, and just let them know that, you know, you're doing good, you've come a long way. And as a survivor, when you're in therapies and you have someone to come watch you one day, it's a good feeling, and you do better when someone's there that you know. Well, I found it that way anyways. And hope. You need hope. Everyone needs hope in life. And just to get up every day and put your jeans on and keep walking to that light.
Yeah, man, that was beautiful. That was beautiful, Curtis, man. And to know somebody like you who has gone through so much, to hear from you, it means a little more. One thing, you know, I forgot to bring up about your story that stuck out to me that you brought up, man, and I really just got to bring it up to you while we still got you on the line. You said you met the paramedic who was there at your injury. Tell us that experience.
Rob McKenzie and Greg Lanko.
So you met them gentlemen. How did that feel, man?
Well, Donnie and Tim, the first words that I said to Rob and Greg, I said a few times, I just, you know, I couldn't, I said, thank you for saving my life. And I said that, you know, whatever, 3-4 times before we said anything else. And it's something when you can, especially, well, Greg, I mean, he was there. He came up and talked to me at that first responders rodeo, but Rob, he had told me, you know, he had just taken this advanced, like, paramedic training, or, you know, how to intubate right on the scene, and he just took that a couple weeks before the rodeo. And so he came, Rob came out of the crowd. He was sitting watching the rodeo, and he seen this happen, and he jumped over the fence, and and then when I seen him there in 2019, he said, you know, that told the tale. Me being able to do it right there. He said if that didn't happen, it could have been a different story.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I remember I met when I got in my accident, I had to crawl for help. I crawled about 2 hours and banged on some random stranger's door with you know, probably the last breath and strength I had left in me. And then when they answered, I went into you know, I passed out. I went unconscious. You know, woke up in the hospital later. But I remember meeting them, and you know, you're looking at somebody who saved your life. So I can just imagine. I know personally how that felt. That's why I had to ask you, man. They actually gave the person who saved my life. They gave him an award. The city gave him a medal. Yeah, for saving my life. And I remember, you know, they say everything. It's a small world. And years later, I was doing the professional wrestling, and I was going to schools, and I was speaking just about how I did the pro wrestling. I was pretty big in it at the time. And I remember speaking at my high school, and I remember telling my story about my accident. And I remember this little boy in the back, he raised his hand, and after I got done the story, and he's like, that was my door you knocked on. He was a little boy at the time.
Wow.
His dad was the one who saved my life. I had no idea. He didn't know. You know, I didn't know I was speaking to him after I told my story. And, you know, it's a small world we live in.
I spoke at a Remembrance Day service in Pinoca at the Legion a few years ago. And Greg, he lives around there, and his boy, they had some cadets part of the program as well. And his boy was part of the program. You know, it's pretty powerful to him, or for the boy to hear my story and knowing that his dad saved my life. And then I spoke at a school, and his other boy was there and heard my story. I still keep in contact with Rob and Greg. Like I told Greg about, you know, this podcast today, so he'll be listening as well. So
Yeah, that's awesome. We're going to have the podcast available. We're going to have the edited version. It's going to be available on Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio. We're going to send you all that stuff, too. And, they can listen to the live video. Hopefully they're listening. We got it on Facebook and YouTube. I know big-time Tim Kudges, my co-host over here. Tim, we don't have too much time. What do you want to say to Curtis, man?
No, I just want to thank you for coming on here, sharing our story. Calling all the way from Canada. You spent a lot of time talking about your story, and we greatly appreciate it. I know our listeners appreciate it. So just thank you for coming on.
Tim, you ever been to Canada?
And I got
to go on,
I have a question for you guys.
Oh, the tables have turned.
From my story.
What have I learned from your story?
What would you say you took home from my story?
Man, the most amazing thing, I'm not going to give Big Time a chance to answer. He can answer after me. Man, just playing the hand that you're dealt. We don't have control over stuff, man. You're going to waste time and energy saying, why me, why me? You are a guy who shows that you play the hand you're dealt. It might not be fair. It might suck, but you can make it work regardless. What happens in life, where you come from, what obstacles you hit. There's nothing that can stop the human being. We're an amazing person. Don't matter if you're from Alberta, if you're from Camden, New Jersey, Mexico. I don't care what color, what race, what part of the world you're from. You are living proof that no matter what happens in life, you can't just overcome it. You're not just overcoming it, Curtis. Don't get it wrong. You are succeeding. You are saving lives. You are helping people. You are the real deal. I just want to know if your cape has the Canadian flag on it or the U.S. flag, because you're a superhero, God damn it.
How am I supposed to follow that?
Oh, I'll have to go with Canadian.
Mic drop.
I mean, I don't.
Big Time Tim could just get in the mic and tell them what they want to hear.
I'm honestly not gonna be able to follow that, but it's definitely gotta be never give up. You just never give up. You keep fighting. It's something I always talk about. It's you could play the hand you were dealt. You could sit there. You could fold, but that's not gonna get you anywhere. You're gonna keep fighting, and when you don't give up, other people are gonna see that and use you as motivation, which they do now, and that's basically it in a nutshell.
You hear that? What do you think about that,
yes,
Curtis?
Donnie, I'd like to do some presentations with you one day.
I would love that, man. Like I said, I started to find out, some of the problems I had in my life. I had to really go down and figure out not what the problem, but why the problem, and I really learned from this the traumatic brain injury from people like I already mentioned, like Kirby and you have helped me. So anything I can do to help to learn more about myself, because like I said, man, Hungry for Hope has helped me just as much as it has helped other people, man. It's been a blessing. We got the nonprofit now. I'm sure we can work together in the future. We're doing amazing things here. We just started. Anything I can do to help you, I just want to help people, man. I'm just like you. That's all I want to do, man.
Biggest thing you can do for me is just let others know my story, and I'll come share my message with them. That's the biggest thing you can help with.
I'm going to throw your story around more than the Philadelphia Sixers are throwing around the Washington Wizards right now. They're winning 59-54. It's game 2 of the playoffs. But Curtis, before we get you out of here, is there anything you want to leave our viewers with, Canadian, American, whoever they are? We get a lot of German viewers, and we get our producer and our one co-host. He's from Greece. We get a lot of them too. Anything you wanna leave our viewers with?
Yeah, I write cowboy poetry, and I'll write a short one, and it's good to have these when you're going through recovery or everyday life, and it's called True Friend. In the middle of the night, when you're scared or nail-biting fright, a true friend will be your guiding light. I have walked the streets of many a town. I have been up and I have been down. There is nothing better than to have a true friend around. They could live 1,000 miles away, but a true friend you can count on every day. Even when you're wrong, a true friend will stand beside you through thick and thin, singing the same song. That's it.
That was amazing, Curtis. Thank you for sharing that. Tim, he writes better poetry than you. Tim writes poetry too, but that was awesome, man. I know it comes from a deep spot in your heart, man. I just want to thank you for sharing that. I want to thank you for sharing everything. I can't say it enough to my guests, to people like you, man. I know personally what it's like. It's not easy to share your story, to share, some tragedies in your life. I just want to thank you, Curtis. I'm sure Hungry for Hope Nation has learned so much. We're going to let you get out of here unless there's anything else you want to share. Is there anything else?
Well, I'd just like to thank all your listeners for taking the time to hear my story, and I'd like to thank you and Tim for giving me a chance to share my story.
Hey, Curtis, from me, from Tim, from Katie, from Yanni, from our producers, from Hungry for Hope Nation, we want to thank you for coming on the show. I'm going to share your story. I'm going to share this episode. We do a lot of work after the show where we share the hell out of this, man. Lots of people are going to hear your story, and a lot of people are going to learn and be inspired. Curtis, thank you, and have a great night, man. See you, buddy.
Maybe I'll sharpen up a little on my technical skills.
You keep doing what you're doing because it's working, brother. All right, have a great night.
All right, bye.
Man, what a great interview, big time Tim Kudis. But that interview was not possible without El Wingador sauces. I just want to thank El Wingador. There he is. He's an amazing guy. He was in here in studio. He actually was watching the show. He stopped by to drop off some sauces, and I told him about Curtis. And we at Toxic Radio Studio, this is the real deal, this studio. We have videos outside so guests can actually sit and watch the show live. And he saw Curtis's story, and he sat out there. He's still out there now listening to the episode. He don't have to be here. This is El Wingador, 5-time wing ball champion, the guy who did commercials for KFC, but he's a man of the people. And I got to tell you, man, try his wing sauce. It's El Wingador sauces. He just got a whole bunch of batches in. It's elwingadorsauce.com. Yanni's on the website all the time. He's their #1 customer. Tim, I know you love the sauce. We did a shot of it. You big sauce man?
Yeah, big hot sauce person.
Yeah, man, without them and without people like Bean the Bean Coffee, who they got how about that stuff? I know you're a big fighting fan, Tim. They got, what's that stuff called? Gracie Grounds?
Yeah, based off Daniel Gracie, correct?
Daniel Gracie, man. Oh, man, I can't wait to talk to him and interview with this guy. He would be great. Yeah, Bean the Bean Coffee, man. They're one of our sponsors. They're great people. They got this, what's better in Brazil than coffee and jiu-jitsu? They mixed them together, and they got this Gracie Grounds coffee. It's a knockout, Tim, right? It's no pun intended, but it's a knockout, man.
All pun intended.
So check them all out. Big shout out to Jamie, our producer. Shitty guy, but good work. Just kidding. He's a great guy, awesome dude. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank
Yanni.
Katie. I want to thank Jamie. I want to thank Toxic Mike. I want to thank the Greek import, Yanni the Greek. He just told me the Sixers are up 70-57. But most of all, Hungry for Hope Nation, I want to thank you. And I want to thank our guest, Curtis Anderson. Share this episode. Share his story. We need to bring more awareness to traumatic brain injuries. We need to. We will do our part. You do your part. Hunger for Hope Nation. We are out of here. Go Sixers.